right, WWE Day of Reckoning 2 for the Gamecube. This game was released in 2005, and it is the last WWE game for the Gamecube. I'm guessing this was the last WWE game for the Gamecube, mainly because by 2005, the main gaming consoles, while only being around for nearly 4 years at the time, they had basically passed their prime. As I'm sure a lot of people were starting to look forward to the next-gen consoles. Not to mention that while the Day of Reckoning games were successful, they never sold close to as many copies as the SmackDown games did. You see, Day of Reckoning sold around 340,000 copies worldwide. Now compare that to SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, which came out the same year, albeit much later in the year. That game has sold close to 3 million copies worldwide. Anyway, despite what mine or your opinion is of what game is better, it's pretty easy to see why the SmackDown games made it to the next-gen consoles and the poor old Day of Reckoning games didn't. The Wii was not without wrestling games though, and well, they did the easiest thing they could think of for the Wii, and they released watered-down versions of the SmackDown games for them, which I have never played. But as usual, I am way off topic. What is Day of Reckoning 2 like? What is the last WWE Gamecube game like? Did it go out on top? Or did it pull a, let's say, Dexter and fall right on its face at the very end? Let's find out. On the back of this case, this game boasts better graphics, new and improved storyline, enhanced fighting system, and all new legends. Oh, and a tiny mention of the new stamina system. I guess I realized that a lot of people didn't really give a shit about that. Since this game likes to compare itself to the first game, I too will be comparing it to Day of Reckoning 1. The video introduction looks pretty nice. It uses the actual gameplay graphics, which means I should be able to actually show it. It is a rather generic opening, but the voiceover does focus on the story mode. It doesn't give anything away, in fact the opening video is short and sweet. Not bad. The user interface has been upgraded a lot, and I don't mean in terms of practicality, I mean in terms of visuals. But wow, but the main screen just looks so much better than before. I mean even in the options menu, you're inside the WWE truck. You're, well, editing the options. Get it? Yeah, I know this seems pretty trivial to most people, but to me, it's these little details that I just like a lot. I don't really know why. I just do. All the standard matches you would expect to see out there. In fact, I don't think this game has any new matches. And just like in the last game, all the arenas are locked, apart from Raw and SmackDown. The roster has actually improved. It has more superstars, and you can tell just from the character selection screen that they look more detailed than in the previous game. It's straightforward, but it's not perfect. Again, not all the wrestlers are there. For some reason, Christy Hemme is there, but wrestlers like Lita are gone. For some reason. I don't know why. But overall, I am happy with it. The entrances are pretty good, but this is where you actually get to see how much the graphics have improved. It's really impressive how much a GameCube can do with such a limited amount of space. Alright, so now into the gameplay. The gameplay is actually pretty damn good. It's everything the back of the cover says it is. The graphics are great, the controls are pretty much the same, but they feel a lot more smoother and better to play compared to the first Day of Reckoning. It looks like the game has more frames per second to it, which is what gives it its more smoothness. Now I'm not saying it actually does have more FPS to it, I'm just saying that's what it looks like. The CPU is much better. They don't always spam moves and they don't constantly reverse all the frickin' time. As always, the gameplay is fast-paced and fun. The HUD looks a lot better. You've got actual human figures in the corner that represent your finisher ability. And they do a winning pose when you fill them up, which I found to be a little bit amusing. Although the names and the indicators can take up quite a bit of space on the screen. Especially when there are 4 people in the ring. It becomes a little bit of a mess and sometimes you can't really see the wrestlers properly. But that is really only a minor incongruity, as it only happens sometimes. Not much else to say about the gameplay other than it looks great and plays great. The crowd looks pretty good too. It's what you should expect from a sequel. The creative wrestler has also been improved. There are more options to choose from as far as hair and face and models go, etc. And everything loads more faster when you are previewing it. Saves a lot of time. And you can be a lot more specific about customizing the accessories, etc. Still, some of the menus in the Creative Wrestler are still a little bit confusing at times. At times I wasn't sure if I was saving properly or not, but once you get used to it, it works fine. Creating an entrance is not bad. You got easy and detailed mode, but in detailed mode, don't expect absolute control. Don't get me wrong, detailed mode is not bad at all. In fact, it should be just enough for most people. Story mode. This is pretty much the highlight of the game, isn't it? And well, as you would expect, it is like most of the other features in this game. It is a lot better. It carries on right where the last game finished, which is good, because the first game's story mode is just a warm-up compared to this one. There is no slow start, or a slow build-up, or anything like that. It's just, BAM! You're right smack in the middle of a big storyline, and Stacy Keibler is your girlfriend. That's pretty awesome. Because honestly, as much as I like the first Day of Reckoning game, it doesn't have the best storyline in the world. Day of Reckoning 2 has a better storyline, and it's longer. Day of Reckoning 2 expects you to have played the first Day of Reckoning storyline, and while it's great to know the history of the first storyline, in my opinion, it's really not that essential to have played the first Day of Reckoning storyline. Which is good, because like I said, Day of Reckoning doesn't have the most interesting story. I'm not going to give too much away, but from what I played, Day of Reckoning 2 is definitely an improved story mode, and again, the graphics really shine through when I was playing it. Overall, Day of Reckoning 2 is exactly what most people keep telling me it was, which is something along the lines of, Day of Reckoning is good, but Day of Reckoning 2 is better. It has a decent enough roster and a very good story mode, with a kick-ass creative wrestler system combined with great gameplay, all while exploiting the Gamecube for what I'm sure is most, if not all, of its graphical capabilities at the time. I would definitely recommend this game for fans of wrestling games. It even has legends that weren't on the roster at the time, which is kind of the point of legends. Anyway, it has Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, Mankind, The Rock, and Bret Hart. As this is the final game for the series, it sure as shit didn't end with a sour taste in my mouth. It will be hard not to recommend this game, as most of the major review sites and fans gave this game a rather impressive score. Anyway, this has been another review. Thank you for watching. If you like this review, be sure to check out some of my other ones and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook and all that crap. Thanks again.